Hey everyone, this is Pete from Oaths and Emblems. Gonna go over a cool Oathbreaker deck that I've started to tweak that I've really been enjoying. I call it Nahiri's Armory. So Nahiri Storm of Stone is the Oathbreaker, and she has the ability that's just innate, almost like an enchantment, that as long as it's your turn, creatures have first strike. And then equip costs, you activate, cost one less to activate. So that reduces the cost of any kind of equipment that you're going to throw on somebody. Nahiri the Storm deals also X damage to targets that are tapped creatures. So she can do that 1 damage all the way up to 6 and just knock out a creature that's maybe a little aggressive trying to attack you. The signature spell I put with her is Open the Armory. This is a pretty cool spell. Basically, it's a tutor for equipment. Also tutors for auras, but we're not worrying about that because Nahiri loves her some equipment. So there is a cheaper version of Open the Armory. I believe it's a rare. I think it's Steel Shaper's Gift, but it's a $10 card. So I really didn't end up getting that just because I found that the Open the Armory card is way cheaper. It only costs you about maybe 20 cents, 25 cents. So that's what I decided to go with. So this deck is really cool though, because there's a lot of control that you can put into it. And there's also a lot of aggro. And then there's a lot of heavy hitters too. And a lot of flying. So you can evade a lot of blockers and things that they would prevent you from swinging in on them. It definitely gives you a little bit of aggro with the ability to protect yourself. And I'll go over kind of the ways that I'm doing that with this deck. So first thing that I have for the category in this deck is Weapons of Mass Destruction. Since Nahiri likes to reduce the cost of your equipment, I just decided to put at least a handful of weapons in here. I might eventually upgrade to include some of the fancier swords like War and Peace, or they got a couple swords coming out of the new Modern Horizon set, which one of them is really cool because it kills planeswalkers. But we just got some cheap ones in there for now just to get the deck kind of cooking, and we can upgrade it as we go along. So the Weapons of Mass Destruction that I included was, first I put the Loxodon Warhammer in there. Just gives me some lifelink, some extra damage going on to creatures. I also really like Blackblade Reforged. You get +1/+1 with that for every land that you have in play. It is expensive to equip unless you have legendary creatures. And since I'm playing Boros, you best believe I'm going to have a couple legendary creatures in here. The other weapons of note that I'm going to basically say is Sunforger. I have a few other weapons in there, but they're just kind of some damage. But Sunforger is what's going to make this deck really sing. Sunforger is what you're going to probably use Open the Armory for the most. Sunforger is something you're going to see here, and that's going to help you control what's going on. You also have Lightning Greaves that's help protect maybe the creature that has Sunforger on it. Could also be maybe just a creature that you want to get haste when it comes in, especially Feather the Redeemed, because that's one creature that can really mess up your opponent's plans. So looking at that, Sunforger is the biggest piece of equipment that you have in this deck that's really going to keep your deck flexible, help protect it, help use those instants to basically get your opponent off your back. So the instants that I chose that are really going to help control the game, those of you that don't know what Sunforger does, basically you can pay a red and a white to unattach Sunforger, and it lets you tutor for an instant that is 4 CMC or lower, and you cast it basically for free. You just have to pay that red and a white. So you use that, maybe somebody's attacking you, or maybe somebody goes to kill a creature and you want to help protect it. The cards that I have for Sunforger to help me control the game, one is Master Warcraft. Basically lets me assign blockers and attackers. I also have Return to Dust that helps me get rid of pesky artifacts and enchantments, because that's just, they can be annoying. Swords to Plowshare, that's too easy. Just 1 white mana just to say, yeah, I'll see you later. This one I actually like a lot. It's Pollen Lullaby. This is a card that prevents all damage, but also it prevents all damage and then you clash with an opponent. if you win the clash, your opponent's creatures do not untap in their next untap step. So those of you that don't know what clash is, basically you flip the top card of your library, and whoever has the higher CMC card that they flip wins the clash. So just kind of something fun, but also it's a nice gamble where if you win that, then it could be devastating for your opponent. You can just swing in with all your beaters. So I really like that one. Chaos Warp, just target permanent, go away. It could be a permanent that's just causing, all sorts of problems for you. They do get a permanent back, a random one. So, sometimes that turns out bad, sometimes it's okay. The last instant that I have that I really search for Sunforger cards to help react and basically adjust with any kind of situation that might be happening. Maybe all of a sudden I'm about to take a ton of damage and I notice that there's a lot of creatures on the board. I'll go ahead and use Sunforger to cast Congregate. And that's awesome because you end up getting 2 life per creature. So if you time that right, you can really get a ton of life for yourself to bring you back in the game, which is good because if you're playing Boros, you're going to be making some people pretty angry just with how much damage you're going to be doing. Sunforger, help you control. Now, the other instant synergy that we have going on with this deck is one of the creatures that we have is Feather the Redeemed. And Feathered is a really interesting creature because basically if you cast an instant or a sorcery that targets your creatures, you get that instant or sorcery put back in your hand at I think it's the next end step. So basically you just keep recasting those cards over and over again and getting tons of value out of them. So the few cards that I have that really kind of make Feather sing once he's out on the board is Boros Charm for the double strike. I can also use that for like the indestructible part of that too, but for Feather's purposes we're looking for the double strike part of it. Titan Strength is another cool one I have. That's +3/+1 and you get to scry. Defiant Strike, love this one because it lets me just draw a card and you get +1 damage, so just win-win there. And then Nahiri's Stoneblades, just +2/+0, and you can do that to 2 creatures. So once again, just getting some extra damage in there, trying to finish off your opponents, and you get to recast it because of Feather. So really great synergy because I'm getting those instants anyways with Sunforger. So I might as well have Feather in there to benefit from all these instants that I'm going to be running. And it's really not a ton of instants. It might be like maybe 10 instants, maybe. So a couple other categories that I want to go over before we start getting too far into this. So just some kind of like minor categories. We do have some ramp cards in there. We got cards like Boros Keyrune. You got Boros Signet. You also got a couple of lands to help you ramp up. I do have a couple store lands in there. I know a lot of people don't like those because they're slow, but I just like them because they're flavorful and they definitely just help you ramp. And in red-white, that can be very helpful. Also got Temple of the False God, help me get some extra ones. Boros Garrison, Rugged Prairie. That's another good little ramp to help you fix your mana. Got Evolving Wilds to help fix mana. So a lot of different land bases, and like I said, the Keyrune and the Signet to help you just kind of fix your mana and ramp up a little bit. You're not going to ramp too much, but it's definitely going to help out. We also got a couple of enchantments, not a ton. I'll talk about the enchantments when we get into the other categories. I only got 2 of them, and we do have 1 sorcery, and the sorcery is pretty good. Just of note, it's a Martial Coup. That's kind of like your oh crap button. Somebody aggroed a lot heavier than I did, or somebody's trying to lock out the board, and basically just kill everything else, and you get a bunch of soldiers. So I really like Martial Coup because it kind of fits with what you're trying to do anyways. Get a bunch of creatures in there and mentor them up, and yeah, kill your enemy. So a couple other categories that I want to talk about is card draw, because you do want to have a few abilities to draw cards, especially with red-white. You're going to run out of cards, and you want to try to get some more so you can keep the pressure on your opponent, because they are going to start removing your threats that you have, even though you do have Sunforger. So first one that I have is Shram. He basically draws every time you drop an equipment. Really good because you're going to be dropping some equipment in this. Stonehaven Outfitter. When a creature dies, if it has equipment on it, you get to draw a card. And then finally, Mentor of the Meek. You draw a card for every creature with a power 2 or less that enters the battlefield. I think you just have to pay 1, which isn't bad at all. I do have a kind of, I don't know if I want to call this like a tertiary kind of condition, but I do have some more synergy, and this is built off Ajani's Pridemate. So most people know that Ajani's Pridemate gets +1/+1 counter on it whenever you heal. So I built in some mechanics in there to help heal, and also the Pridemate just loves it because he just gets huge. So I got Healing Hawk in there for lifelink. That can also be an early pinger, and if I put an equipment on it, then it can start doing some decent damage. Johnny's Welcome. When creatures enter the battlefield, gain life. Congregate, like I said, and then locks it on Warhammer. So I have definitely a few things to help me gain life and sustain. Because like I said, Boros, you're going to make some people mad. You got to be able to retaliate and try to sustain yourself as they kind of try to come into you. A couple other things. Like I said, we do have Tutor for equipment. Obviously, our signature spell, Tutors for equipment. We also have Relic Seeker, which when you damage an opponent, you get to tutor for equipment. And then and like I said, the signature spell those are the two ways you're going to get your equipment out. You have buffs. The buffs that I have in here make just even the lowliest of, soldier pretty awesome. You have Aurelia the Exemplar. She basically gives +2/+0 and with trample for red creatures, and it's a vigilance if it's a white creature. So she's just really good. She has Mentor. She's going to make lower creatures better. Tajik's going to do the same thing. He has Mentor and Haste. He also prevents non-com damage from coming into your other creatures. We have Benelish Marshal for +1/+1. Ariok Steel Shaper, +1/+1 if he's equipped for soldiers and knights. And we got a ton of soldiers and knights in here that are going to benefit from that. We also have Aurelia the War Leader, going to give us 2 combats. Love that card. She's probably the main reason why I wanted to play Boros, and she's just a beast. Sky Knight, he has haste and flying, so once again somebody that can just go over the top, maybe throw a weapon on him, start mentoring him. Really good creatures that are going to benefit from all this buffing and extra attacks that you're going to get with everything else. Then finally we have the reduce equipment cost category. We have stuff like Ariok Steel Shaper. He's going to do -1 to equip. Obviously your Oathbreaker. Nahiri Stormstone, -1 to equip. And then the enchantment that I talked about before, the Sigarda's Aid, you get to equip for free and your equipment has flash. So if I have, let's just say that I do have Sunforger in my hand, I can go ahead and just hold on to it, keep some mana up, and then right before my turn, when they go to their end step, go ahead and flash out the Sunforger, automatically attaches to somebody, and then I'm loaded, ready to go for my turn. So you can do that, and your opponents really can't react to it too much. Flash on equipment just sounds pretty good. Looking at it, this deck has 23 lands, not trying to get too greedy with it. I probably don't need 23. I probably could skim that down a little bit, but I think 23 is a good number to have. Just so your mana base is good. I feel like if you get too low, you're starting to miss drops at that point. So yeah, looking at this deck, I've played it now a couple times just to have some fun with it. Started tweaking it to its current state. It's a lot of fun. It plays well. Definitely can have some upgrades. And as I upgrade it, I'll definitely let you all know. Just to give you an idea of the price point, the price of this deck is about anywhere from $65 to $75 depending on where you get it. So it's really not that expensive of a deck. The Planeswalker Nahiri, she's easy to get. The most expensive card in here is Lightning Greaves. So that's like a $7 card. This deck definitely is very doable. It's budget friendly, and it has a lot of potential to upgrade. If you really want to put some time and put some money into this deck, you could upgrade it into an even more powerful deck. But I even feel like the way it is now, it'll do some work. It'll definitely win you some games. Definitely make some people angry with how hard you're going to hit them with some of these creatures. like I said, really excited about this. Really happy with the way it turned out. If you guys have any questions about it, or if you think that there's a card that would go better in here, then go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what we missed, and let me know how you guys think it could be improved. So make sure that you guys are going to listen to our podcast. We're on Podbean, just Oaths and Emblems. We also have Twitter pages, myself and Nick. Mine's Pete Oaths and Emblems, and then Nick's is Nick Oaths Emblems. So just check us out. Like I said, we're really excited about Oathbreaker. Really glad to share all this deck tech. Glad to share our experiences, and we're going to be really happy to talk and keep on communicating with the community. It's just a lot of fun. So just keep getting games, and we'll see y'all later.